special evening. At this time, if you're able to rise, please do so for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, very special night for the board and our seniors and our retired staff and faculty. So at this time, we will recognize special student accomplishments from the class of 2024.
I am pleased to present senior Tia Jack, who shines brightly as an academic star and has charted a specialized path for herself throughout her high school years. She has taken honors classes and specialized her focus towards health and life sciences. During her senior year, she has excelled in the BOCE's New Visions program for health policy and careers, which has provided her with experiences in the medical field. Honors courses and excellent grades are only a fraction of the story of Tia's high school career. She's an athlete, a musician, and a volunteer. Tia played cello throughout middle school and high school and participated in the NISMA twice. She has been a swimmer since the age of 5 and trained 6 days a week as she competed on community teams as well as for our varsity swim team. She was the captain of the varsity swim team. Additionally, Tia has been a standout lacrosse player for Scotia-Glenville. She managed to balance a continuous athletic schedule, superior academic performance in the classroom, and still finds opportunities to volunteer in the community and work several part-time jobs. She volunteered for the Hobie Leadership Seminar and at Bellevue Women's Hospital. Her work experiences include chef and cashier with a kettle corn business, a crepe stand, a restaurant in Schenectady, and even working at Burmaster Farms. Tia's talent combined with a strong work ethic will serve her well as she moves to the next level in education and athletic competition. Tia will attend LaSalle University to study biology and plans to compete in the sport of lacrosse.
From a long line of true Tartans, and she embodies all the characteristics of our Scotia-Glenville community values. Sadie has had a standout career in the fine arts as a vocalist and as an actress. She received an exemplary score of 98 at level 6 in NISMA. She has been a leading member of the select vocal group, the Choraleers, throughout her high school years, and was accepted into the Suburban Council Choir as well as the area All-State Choir in her junior and senior years. She took her passion for singing to the next level by sharing it with others this year as a student teacher who directed rehearsals of her peers and conducted a piece with them in the school concert. Sadie has added her voice to the high school musicals and honed her talent as an actress through her roles in many shows, culminating in her nomination for Best Supporting Actress at the Proctor's Musical Theater Awards for 2 consecutive years. She competed as a track and field athlete during middle school and high school and volunteered to raise money for the teams throughout. Perhaps her most inspiring volunteer work came in 2021 when she and her sister raised $24,000 for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society and were runners-up in their Student of the Year campaign. Sadie has also been a leader with Children in Vacation Bible School at her church and worked a part-time job with Duncan. It is clear that Sadie's spirit is bigger than your average school spirit. Though the sound of her voice in our halls and our stage may fade, her influence on others will only grow, and she will expand that Tartan tradition to new friends as well as the next generation. Sadie will attend the Crane School of Music at SUNY Potsdam to study music education.
Aaron Smith is well known here at SGHS as a cross-country runner and a standout Nordic ski athlete. She competed in Nordic skiing from 7th grade through her senior year, where she served as captain of the Nordic team. She qualified for the New York State Championship meet 3 years in a row. What some folks at Scotia-Glenville may not know is that Erin is also the #1 female cross-country mountain biker in New York State. She began competing with her peers across the state in 6th and 7th grade, was moved to varsity level competition within the NICA League, New York League. This past weekend, she capped off an unprecedented 5th straight title as the New York State Female Mountain Bike Champion. Erin consistently dominated the rest of the field of riders through all 4 years of high school. Her talent, hard work, and dedication set her apart on the bike, but she did it all with grace and encouragement for others, earning respect for both her teammates and her competitors. Erin has finished as high as 15th in the nation, competing at 9,000 feet in Colorado, and next week will be headed to Alabama for this year's Marathon National Championship race. Beyond athletics, Erin excelled academically, was a member of the National Honor Society, and managed to work several part-time jobs as a vet tech assistant and chef at a farm-to-table restaurant. She also volunteered at the STEP Therapeutic Riding Program, helping people with disabilities through their riding lessons and in feeding and caring for horses. Erin is a generous and compassionate person who will continue to find success and share with others. Erin will attend the University of Massachusetts Amherst to study animal science and plans to compete with the club cycling team and at regional, professional, and USA cycling events.
Is a giver who has built a reputation of generosity and service while participating in all kinds of activities and always doing so with a positivity and enthusiasm. Her participation and leadership in a wide variety of volunteer programs, including GIVE, through her high school career is impressive. Through this program, she has been a servant leader in Big Sisters, Shelter Helpers, Warm Welcomes, Make-A-Wish, Tour Guide, and the Coffee Shop. In addition to these, she also earned her way into National Honor Society and was elected to Student Senate. Her involvement in both organizations brought more service opportunities for her to SGHS. Maddie is a true Tartan in the sense that she looks for ways to participate and make her school and community better. She demonstrated leadership among her peers as a member of Student Senate, but also as youth advocate and part of the Unified Sports Program. In addition to service and leadership, she was a Nordic skier throughout high school and a member of the German and journalism clubs. Our Fine Arts Department has been fortunate to benefit from Maddie's beautiful singing as a leading member in the Harmonettes, Choralaires, and of course, the musicals performed by the Drama Club. She honed her talent through voice lessons and the Capital District Youth Chorale and performed at NYSSMA throughout all her middle school and high school years, culminating in recognition with the Area All-State Chorus. Scotia-Glenville High School will miss this servant leader whose smile and voice continue to brighten the lives of others. Madeline will attend Siena College to study business and pre-law.
Is the kind of leader who doesn't need to be loud or in front of a crowd to have a major influence. Chances are good if you look at any major event or activity for the class of 2024, Kira has played a key role. She is a bright and creative person who will supply great ideas, but will also commit herself to the implementation of those ideas. She is organized, disciplined, and determined. Her peers clearly recognize her leadership ability in electing her as president of the National Honor Society, as well as Student Senate, and her coaches have done the same. She was captain of both the volleyball and Nordic ski teams. Kira is a musician who played violin with the orchestra throughout her school years and as a member of the select group, the chamber orchestra. In addition to her formal leadership roles, she set the pace volunteering with several organizations in the school, raised money for Special Olympics, sorted donated clothing, assisted with elementary field days, taught students with disabilities to ride bikes, and worked in the coffee shop. She furthered her interest in health science as a volunteer at Ellis Hospital, assisting on nursing and respiratory rotations throughout their 6-week program. Kira has received several awards for leadership and sportsmanship throughout her career. As a natural, quiet, steadfast leader, there is no doubt that you will continue to inspire others to serve others and make the world a better place. Kira will attend St. Joseph's University to study health science and physician assistant studies.
Brian Reed is a determined, capable, conscientious young man. He is a student who has varied interests and has risen to many challenges throughout his high school career. Brian has interests in ranging from theater and technology to entrepreneurship. In fact, Brian's co-owned and operated Brian's Brew, and his grandfather selling coffee's products at farmers markets and local farm stands. Brian has fully engaged in his high school education and activity participants in Young Entrepreneurs Club, Student Senate, SAD, as well as the Drama Club. As part of his academic program, Brian worked in several venues in our high school, including the coffee shop and the cafeteria. One passion includes theater, as he has involved himself in many community venues for performance arts. Additionally, he attended the Performing Arts BOCES program at Proctor's Theater and has been hired after school to follow his dream of working in the industry. The commitment and dedication that he has applied to his course of study while balancing his interests and hobbies is admirable. He is also a generous and kind person who can often be found helping young students with technology questions in the classroom. He has volunteered for our GIVE program and is always the first to lend a hand to a person or in a situation of need of help. We know the winning combination of work ethic, positive mindset, and academic preparation will cause him to be so successful in his future endeavors. He will study and work at the Proctor's Theater Group following his graduation.
Congratulations again to all the seniors. Moving on, we will now recognize retiring instructional and non-instructional personnel.
I'm pleased to present Rebecca Ayers, our 6th grade ELA and social studies teacher at the middle school. Mrs. Becky Ayers is a true Scotia-Glenville Tartan, born, raised, educated, and then proudly served as an educator, all in the Scotia-Glenville Central School District. Her list of accomplishments and service highlights to her hometown district is extensive, to say the least. However, there are just some of the things that we might take for granted we can credit in part to Mrs. Ayers. It starts back in 1985 when Becky was in high school under the leadership of Mr. McGuire. It was then that Mr. McGuire expressed a need to improve school spirit and Tartan pride. Being the creative problem solver that she is, it was within a week that she presented Mr. McGuire the idea of Spirit Week at the high school. That Spirit Week not only remains a major event at the high school, but has also been adopted by the middle school. Who knew that 10 years later, Mrs. Ayers would start her teaching career in Scotia-Glenville in 1995 as an elementary teacher at Glendale Elementary School. During her time at Glendale, she was instrumental in the creation of activities such as Read the Day Away, birthday recognitions, and the Olympic celebrations that still occur to this day. Later, Becky served on the transition committee to identify and help develop programs offered to 6th graders at the middle school. It wasn't long that the middle school was lucky enough to have Mrs. Ayers come and teach 6th grade, where she has been ever since. Just some of her credits while at the middle school has been her involvement in National Junior Honor Society, Girls on the Run, Teen Towns, Book Buddies, and a team leader. However, just as important as her involvement in creation of activities or programming is Becky's remarkable teaching ability. Mrs. Ayers is one of the most dynamic, engaging, and animated teachers you will ever have the good fortune to experience. She connects with every one of her students and has an uncanny ability to even the most reserved students get them to contribute, grow, and experience success and develop a love for learning. Each year in the summer months, the guidance office would field calls from parents about how they can get their incoming sixth grader into Mrs. Ayers' class. The middle school and the district overall will surely miss Mrs. Rebecca Ayers and wish her nothing but happiness with her family, friends, and loved ones in the future as she enters into retirement.
Robin Brino, typist, district-wide. Robin has been a member of the Scotia-Glenville District Office family since 1989, starting out with our Buildings and Grounds Department and transitioning to the additional position of Central Registrar. The first car you will see in the district office parking lot most mornings is Robin's. She is punctual and ready to greet each day. She lives by this standard and it is reflected in her work ethic. Robin embraced the Central Registrar position after being with the district for many years, when it was presented as additional work to coincide with Buildings and Grounds. Since this time, she has been the first person our families speak with and are welcomed by when they enter our district. Whether they are enrolling their first child in kindergarten, are a family transferring in, or parents with a preschool child who may have special needs, Robin is kind, patient, professional, and helps them through the process. Robin is always aware and considerate to all the new families who are feeling anxious. Sometimes the enrollment process can be tricky with families, especially if they're going through a major life transition, facing homelessness, starting foster care placement, or combative custody issues. Robin strives to maintain a delicate balance to follow district guidelines without those involved taking offense. Robin is in continual communication with staff in all 6 school buildings and also pupil personnel services. She helps all the levels to be prepared and ready to greet any and all students. Robin is now moving on to retirement after 34.5 years of service. Hopefully she will embrace this part of her life and enjoy time with her children and grandchildren who are nearby. Please join me in wishing her all the best.
Gina Brown, elementary teacher at Glendale Elementary. Gina Brown joined the Scotia-Glenville School District in 1993. She has spent her entire career teaching at Glendale Elementary. Gina is a passionate educator who truly does what is best for students daily. She is a high-energy teacher who develops lessons for her students that are engaging, hands-on, and fun. Through her teaching style, she truly instills a love of learning in her students each day. Gina is a true professional and has served as a building leader and teacher who others can rely on for support and guidance. She has built lifelong relationships with her students and families. It is not unusual to see Gina at a student's extracurricular activity rooting them on. Gina is a compassionate person who has led our kindness committee for many years, helping to spread the message that kindness matters and is important for success. There probably isn't a building or district-wide committee that Gina hasn't been a part of. Lending a hand to others is one of her true strengths. Gina has many things planned as she heads into retirement. After years of being the mama of her husband's union football players, she is looking forward to attending college games with Pete to root together from the stands. She enjoys painting and selling inspirational rocks and plans to sell them at artisan fairs. She looks forward to continuing her work with the Scotia Food Pantry, providing much-needed items to our community. Gina plans to travel to Ireland with Pete, attend Taylor Swift concerts, with Christy, visit her son Packy in Boston, and enjoy some much-needed relaxation time at their family home in Lake George. Congratulations, Gina. Once a Cardinal, always a Cardinal, and we hope you visit the nest often.
Bobby DeLong, it says will be provided, so this is provided right here. Okay.
Would you like to go to the microphone?
No, I can do it from here.
I'm just checking.
Okay. Bobby joined the Scotia-Glenville family over 26 years ago as a substitute clerical worker. A few years later, she was appointed as a typist in the middle school guidance office. Bobby then moved into the district clerk position on April 25th, 2005, and she then moved into the business office, never to leave. Upon her retirement, she'll have served just over 19 years in this position, the longest reigning district clerk in Scotia's history. Her impeccable work in this critical position, none more important than the annual budget vote, has set a standard that will be difficult to match. Bobby is an incredible multitasker with a vast array of duties in addition to those performed in her role as district clerk. During her 19 years in this capacity, she also served as the asset coordinator for the district, her most enjoyable position as secretary to the school business manager, facility use coordinator, and also acted as the unofficial assistant purchasing agent. Bobby's ability to problem solve and work with building personnel was a great asset to the business manager. She has amazing work ethic. She arrives early, even before Robin, I think, to stay on top of her workload. She has a wonderful sense of humor, is a team player, and contributes to a positive work environment. Her professional talent and expertise aside, what makes her even more special is her compassion to people. Consider yourself very fortunate if you are part of Bobby's family. You will not find a more caring and compassionate person. Thank you, Bobby. We'll miss you in the district, but wish you nothing but success and a well-deserved retirement.
Congratulations, Bobby.
Renee Evenden, speech language pathologist, Lincoln Elementary. Mrs. Renee Evenden has provided speech and language support to the students at Lincoln Elementary for the past 19 years. As a very well-respected and admired educator, Renee has had a positive impact on every student, staff, and parent she has worked with over the years. Mrs. Evenden's day always starts with a big smile in the hall, greeting each student as they enter the building, giving a compliment and an occasional hug to students that race up to see her each morning. Mrs. Evenden makes an effort to get to know every student that would pass her office. The students at Lincoln absolutely love Mrs. Evenden. She's always warm and kind to everyone and finds a way to make everyone she speaks to feel special in their own way. Each day, Mrs. Evenden helps her students overcome obstacles to become a better learner. Her lessons are always delivered in a fun, energetic, and exciting way, and her students love when they can work with her. When her students return to the classroom, they feel proud and confident of the progress they are making, which helps them thrive for the rest of the day. In CSE meetings, it was amazing to watch Mrs. Evenden advocate for her students, as she always found a way to highlight the very best of each student in the most positive, kind, caring, and professional manner possible. When Mrs. Evenden spoke about a student, the parents knew that Mrs. Evenden was their biggest advocate and fan. Mrs. Evenden enjoyed the rapport that she established with her parents, and often was the one person that parents trusted the most to advocate for their children. Throughout the building, Mrs. Evenden was well-loved and respected by her colleagues as well. Her relentless work ethic, positive outlook, and caring demeanor is recognized and appreciated by all. Mrs. Evenden has always found time to stay involved at Lincoln, from serving ice cream sundaes each year to ice cream social, volunteering on the Lincoln Safety Team and Sunshine Committee, or just stopping by a PTA event to say hello to her students. Mrs. Evenden was always willing to help in any way she could. When Mrs. Evenden retires from Lincoln in June, she will be greatly missed by everyone.
Peggy Gillen, elementary teacher, Lincoln Elementary. Mrs. Gillen has worked for Scotia-Glenville Schools for an amazing 37 years. Throughout that time, Mrs. Gillen has been on just about every committee there is for our district, as she was always willing to offer her assistance when needed. Although Mrs. Gillen would never take credit for being an expert in her field, she was a true example of a lifelong learner, as she took every opportunity to grow as a teacher. In an effort to help her students and her colleagues, Mrs. Gillen would often do her own research and attend any training, workshop, or conference that was available to her. Mrs. Gillen is a second grade teacher who teaches her students math, reading, science, and social studies each day, but more importantly, she strives to teach her students to love learning. Mrs. Gillen understands the importance of teaching the whole child and will best be remembered by her students for taking the time to teach the lessons that exist outside of textbooks. Will Puxatawny Phil see his shadow this year? You can always count on Mrs. Gillen's class to create their own colorful groundhogs and brave the February cold weather as they went outside, just to see for themselves how many more weeks of winter were left. Each year in June, Mrs. Gillen would also organize Lincoln's annual Flag Day ceremony. Mrs. Gillen and her second graders would invite members of our National Guard to the school to help raise Lincoln's flag and teach us about the history of the flag. All the students would probably wear their red, white, and blue and watch in awe as the soldiers would march to the flagpole and bring Lincoln a brand new flag from the National Guard. During the presidential votes, Mrs. Gillen always made sure that the students at Lincoln had a chance to cast their vote for the next president. And each year, as she organized our annual end-of-the-year awards assembly, she somehow made sure the President of the United States signed the certificates for each Lincoln student that earned the Presidential Award for Excellence. For 37 years, Mrs. Gillen made it a priority to give her students the complete elementary school experience, making each day a special and memorable one for her students.
Julie Mancini, Teaching Assistant, Lincoln Elementary. Miss Mancini was a student at Scotia-Glenville and attended Lincoln Elementary when she was younger. After 24 years as a teaching assistant for our district, Mrs. Mancini retired this past May from Lincoln Elementary. Julie is a very active member of Lincoln Elementary and Lincoln community. As a teaching assistant, Julie assisted in the classroom and was highly skilled in helping those students that needed a little extra reading or math support. Julie also covered for many classroom teachers and became everyone's second favorite PE teacher, as she was frequently asked to cover for physical education classes when our PE teacher was absent. In addition to her teaching assistant role, Ms. Mancini also was a member of our building safety team and building-wide Sunshine Committee. Julie always went above and beyond to make everyone feel so special at Lincoln. Ms. Mancini is a highly skilled teaching assistant with an amazing work ethic. However, it is her ability to connect with her students that was her greatest asset of love. She truly enjoyed working with her students, especially those students that needed extra support and attention. Over the years, Julie formed strong relationships with her students as she often worked with some students over multiple grades. Those relationships grew even stronger when her students would also see her over the summer programs, and also when she worked at Collins Park Summer Recreational Program. And I might add, she taught a lot of people to ride their bikes there too. Ms. Mancini will be greatly missed by the entire Lincoln community, and we wish her the very best in her retirement.
Jim McCullough, Senior Maintenance Mechanic, Buildings and Grounds. Jim started his career at Scotia-Glenville in 2013 as a maintenance mechanic and then moved into the position of Senior Maintenance Mechanic in 2021. Throughout his career with the district, Jim has always been someone who could be relied on to not only do the job, but do it right and with a sense of professionalism. As Senior Maintenance Mechanic, Jim has been responsible for reviewing work orders, gathering needed materials, and then overseeing the work of his coworkers. Jim has a very strong work ethic and could always be counted on for any situation that arose. His knowledge of commercial building maintenance and repair was a great benefit to the entire district. Jim is known for his sense of humor and practical jokes, which will be missed by his coworkers. Jim enjoys vintage cars and live music and is looking forward to enjoying both during retirement. He is also looking forward to spending time with his wife Sharon, his 2 children, and his grandchildren. Congratulations, Jim, and thank you for all your dedication and hard work over the years. We wish you a very happy, healthy retirement.
Martha Moran, Human Resources, district-wide. Martha came to Scotia-Glenville in 2018 after a very successful career as a human resource specialist for the Niskayuna School District. Martha's extensive knowledge and experience in the field of human resources soon became invaluable to our district. She assumed many RH tasks that had been handled by staff in the business office up until that point in time, and she performed all of these duties with absolute professionalism. Only a couple years into Martha's career with Scotia-Glenville, COVID forced the district into a whole new world regarding HR. Martha took over these new duties in regard to new state-mandated rules and regulations, and did a phenomenal job in making sure that the district was in full compliance and that all employees were informed of any changes pertaining to COVID. She always responded to employee questions and concerns with a compassionate ear and an open mind. She is truly missed by the business office staff, but we trust she is enjoying her retirement, spending time with her husband and children, and lots of time on her boat at Lake George. Congratulations, Martha, and thank you for all your dedication and hard work over the years. We wish you a very happy, healthy retirement.
Barbara Ridgey, teacher aide, senior high school. Mrs. Ridgey has been an important part of the Scotia-Glenville High School Special Education Services program for a decade. She's been a wonderful support to students and staff. Mrs. Ridgey is always cheerful, extremely diligent, and dependable, and she approaches everyone with compassion and positivity. She works seamlessly with her colleagues throughout the high school, providing testing accommodations for students in the high school across all curriculum areas. This attribute of versatility has made her an invaluable support to our students and teachers in resource rooms. Mrs. Ridgey built trust with her students and established a calm, and low-key environment to support them. Her friendly smile and willingness to step in and assist wherever needed through the entire building made her a valued colleague and contributed to the overall smooth operation of the high school daily. She is steady and reliable. Her constant, supportive presence for staff and students throughout her time here will be sorely missed by all of us at the high school, and we wish her a happy and healthy retirement.
Jennifer Russell, teaching assistant, senior high school. Mrs. Russell has served as a teaching assistant at the high school for the last 17 years, but she has been involved and invested in many aspects of SGHS. She has contributed to the growth and development of students in our special education programs through her work as a job coach, provided countless work-based learning opportunities. Her patience and consistency with students, always encouraging them to do their best and to push to the next level, was inspiring. Each day she would begin again with each student and seek to meet each one where they were to provide meaningful and creative learning experiences. Mrs. Russell's work as a TA extended into the summer most years as she supported our summer programming. Beyond her work as a TA, she was the advisor for the Tartan Mart School Store, modified field hockey coach, and the financial advisor for the yearbook. Mrs. Russell was well organized and her attention to detail outstanding. She would follow through on all projects, both big and small, which instilled great confidence that she could accomplish any task she was signed up to do, and there were many throughout her years here. She was known for her sensitivity to spot a need with an individual or a group, and she would immediately think of a specific way she could help or offer that to others. She participated in Power of Peace program, character education with our students, and she was always willing to offer whatever it takes for a student to feel safe and seen by her and by her colleagues. Mrs. Russell's servant heart and can-do nature have made a difference in the lives of so many students here at Scotia-Glenville High School. We wish her well as she begins her journey into retirement.
Susan Saburo, teaching assistant, Lincoln Elementary. After 22 years at Scotia-Glenville, Ms. Susan Saburo retired from Lincoln Elementary School this past November. Mrs. Saburo was a longtime teaching assistant at Lincoln Elementary and assisted at each of the different grade levels throughout the years. Sue was most recently an active member of the Lincoln Safety Team and Sunshine Committee, as she was always willing to assist in any way she could if it could benefit the students or the building. Mrs. Saburo's professionalism and caring demeanor earned her the respect of both the students and the staff that worked with her. Mrs. Saburo is very easy to work with, and her versatile skill set allowed her to go from reading with a small group of kindergartners to covering for a 5th grade class without ever missing a beat. Mrs. Saburo is already missed by her students and colleagues, but she is now able to spend much deserved time with her husband and grandchildren, enjoying her retirement.
Library and Media Specialist, Middle School. In 1981, IBM released its first PC at the Waldorf Astoria in New York City. Jumanji was published, and Jan Tunison graduated with a degree in education and library science from Pittsburgh University of Pennsylvania. In the first 10 years of her career, she worked as a school library media specialist in several elementary and middle schools, earned her master's degree at the University of Pittsburgh, interned at NASA's Industrial Applications Center at Pitt, worked in the university's chemistry, computer science, and physics libraries, and joined a team of creatives as the Chief Information Officer tasked by the National Science Foundation with designing a unique physics education product. Around the time that Microsoft released Windows 95 and J.K. Rowling released her first Harry Potter book in the mid-1990s, Jan began her career as a tartan. She was hired as the library media specialist for Glen Warden Elementary School. Jan helped to design the elementary's libraries, created learning experiences in half the computer lab of IMAX, where students shared computers, and also took a deep dive into research and literacy with students and staff. Fast forward to the mid-2000s when Microsoft released Windows 7 and Diary of a Wimpy Kid became a popular book series. Jan transitioned into the position of high school library media specialist, library department chair, and technology specialist. Working collaboratively with her high school colleagues, she created a robust instructional program based on literacy, research, and inquiry. Students partnered with Schenectady County Public Library's One County, One Book program with guest artists such as Jody Bicoult and Robin Olivia, and also partnered with Tartan staff and students to support families at the Melody Center for Childhood Cancer and Blood Disorders at the Albany Medical Center through creative outreach. Simultaneously, Jan worked with the library department staff, district administration, and buildings and ground staff to support the enclosure of the middle school library and its redesign into a contemporary instructional space. The high school library also received a facelift. Students and staff continue to enjoy and use these instructional spaces today. When Microsoft released Windows 10 and the Minions movie was pressed into DVDs and into the 2010s, Jan joined the district's tech department as a leader of instructional technology, working with district staff and technology implementation and instructional integration. During this time, technology advances rapidly impacted teaching and learning on the daily basis with instruction of Chromebooks and Google products, especially during COVID home instruction. With the advent of 5G networks and the vast publication of graphic novels series, Jan closed her career as a tartan in the roles of middle school library media specialist, middle school tech specialist, and learning with students. Supporting the Chromebook fleet and sponsoring Laboratory Club are all the highlights of her final chapter as a tartan. But even as this chapter closes, Jan will always be part of our hearts as a tartan. And it is with much appreciation and certainty, some sadness in losing such an incredible educator and person, that we wish Jan health and happiness in her retirement.
Executive Secretary 1 at the middle school. Michelle started at Scotia-Glenville Middle School in September of 2013. She quickly realized that this would be the position she would retire from. Where else would she be able to combine her love for students, especially those that need guidance, with creating bonds with a passionate and dedicated staff that transcends the workplace? The counseling staff and administration that Mrs. Van Wert collectively supports would attest that Michelle has been so much more than our counseling office secretary. She's more like the counseling office manager. Over the years, she has always been proactive, and she tries to anticipate what we're going to ask her before we even ask. She goes above and beyond her job description on a regular basis. She's amazing at interfacing with parents. She's always able to patiently hear out their concerns. She's clear about when the counselors will be available, and she refers parents to the appropriate person as needed. Michelle is crucial to the organization and implementation of the New York State testing, report card printing, honor roll processing, locker assignments, and countless mailings. Above all, Michelle is an incredible support to the students. She's excellent at providing triage and at comforting upset students until a counselor is available. Michelle has the perfect combination of nurturing and warmth, but she can also be gently firm when necessary. For some students, Michelle is probably the most important adult support available to them at school. We've been beyond fortunate to have Michelle in the counseling office for the last several years, and her shoes will be incredibly difficult to fill. In Michelle's own words, "My guidance family and main office staff have become such an important part of my life and have been a source of support and friendship. I will miss the bond of friendship I have made with the people here at Scotia-Glenville, and hopefully through the years I have made a difference for at least one student who has come to the counseling center to either cool off, draw, cry, call their parent, take a test, offer a snack, or just sit and chill." While it is with sadness that we see Michelle go, we are happy as well. Not only the time we had with Mrs. Van Wert, but for her as she embarks on, I'm sure, many camping trips with her family. Here's wishing Michelle many sunsets in the future.
Congratulations again to all the honorees. And on behalf of the board, we wish you nothing but the best in all of your future adventures. At this time, there is some lovely refreshments out back for everyone to mingle and chat for a few minutes, and then we'll reconvene for our meeting. Thank you again.
I don't.
All right, back to our regular business meeting here. At this time, we will open up the first hearing and privilege of the floor. If anyone would like to address the board, please just state your name, address, adhere to our 5-minute board policy. Please refrain from using any student or faculty member by name.
It's just us.
It's just you. Heidi,
We're here for you guys.
It went out so quickly.
I'll write that
More of
down.
those cupcakes.
Sarah said she's here for us. All right, so I guess I will close the first hearing and privilege of the floor. Remind everyone, we will have one at the towards the end of the meeting. At this time, I'll turn it over to Superintendent Schwartz for her comments.
And after our reception for our students and our staff, I can't top that.
Thank you. All right, we will now have a CARES Act update from Mr. Giaquinto.
Thank you, Al.
Absolutely.
As you know, the final leg of the CARES Act was the ARP or ARPA money, and we had to encumber that by 9/30/24. I wanted to please me to tell the board that we'll meet this deadline. All our projects will be complete as of July 1st, which is the generator's the last one at Glen Warden. So these projects, which total about $2.5 million, captured mental health enhancements for both students and faculty, the generator project at Glen Warden, summer elementary school learning enhancements called Learning Leaps, Chromebooks, some IT equipment, a smorgasbord of projects and items that all had to be approved by SCD each leg of the journey, and we did it. I want to thank my staff for working with me during this. So it pleases me to tell the board we'll be in compliance and wrap this up with the deadline of 9/30/24.
Beautiful. Excellent.
Thank you for that.
Nice job.
Absolutely.
To you too.
Anyone have any questions for Drew? No? All right. If not, we'll move on. If I can get a motion, please, on items 9 and 10 to accept the 23-24 risk assessment.
I'll move that we accept the 2023-24 risk assessment and its corrective action plan, and that we accept the 2023-24 transition audit and its correction plan.
Thank you, Pam. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion. Questions?
I had some questions about the audit and our response to it. Is it okay if I go ahead?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. So on the first written page of it, it says, in performing our engagement, we relied on the accuracy and the reliability of information provided by district personnel. We have not audited, examined, or reviewed the information and expressed no assurance on it. So I guess my first question is, what did we provide them?
Which one are you talking about, verification?
No, the other one.
Risk assessment?
Yep. Yeah, the first risk assessment, the annual risk assessment.
They basically come in and meet with department heads, business office personnel, and they ask questions on how we do things and our procedures. They're not auditing it, they're asking it to assess whether or not they identify a risk. They then presented this report to the audit committee, and I think they said everything was either low risk or no risk, correct?
Correct. So you'll see on both of the audits that they did, the corrective actions would be for previous school years or this school year. There was only a few this school year, or this past year, sorry, that we had to address and take care of. I don't know if it's highlighted in your copy or it's bold print in that copy, what was updated as of this school year.
Right. So I guess I did notice that there were some things that they told us last time that didn't get done, like the tech and the phishing emails. And I saw your response to that, but I'm curious as to what happened, like in the interim, that it didn't get completed.
Well, those aren't my responses, those are IT's. That doesn't all fall under me, but so things would be in progress under the IT realm of things. I can't speak to that because I don't oversee IT.
Okay. And then the thing that they said is still a potential issue, that they said that they've recommended before, is the fingerprints. We're not getting the results back before the teachers or staff actually start working. Where I work with our agency, we also have to do fingerprinting. And when we approve people and we're said it's pending the fingerprints, we don't actually let them start until the pending fingerprints get here. But based on the audit, it sounds like we are letting them start in spite of the fact that we're not getting the results of the fingerprints. Yeah, and to me that concerns me as a liability and a security issue. What kind of time frame are we talking about in between people starting and us getting the results? I mean, we've been relatively lucky
2 weeks.
so far. Pardon me?
About 2 weeks.
All right, is there any reason why we can't hold until those pending results come in? Because I'll be honest with you, when I voted to okay those, I was under the understanding that because it was pending, we were gonna wait until we get those results. And obviously that was an assumption I should not have made and I should have asked. And I
Some of those
apologize for that.
positions, we have started the person before we've even appointed them, if it's a one-to-one aide for a child, so a person who's going to be supervised while they're with a child. If we need the hands, I have let people come, and I don't think we have ever hit a snag, have we, Bobby? Which is just good luck, Kim.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't remember seeing any issues, but I don't want there to come a time when there is. It just seems to me that we've been lucky so far. I don't know if we want to be rocking the boat much longer. So if is that how we intend to proceed? Because if that's the case, I personally will not vote to let that person start working until I know the fingerprints are in place. And I would ask the board to also make that consideration and then vote however you choose to do. But it really concerns me that we're letting people start prior to getting those fingerprinting results.
So I brought this up. I've been on the audit committee 6 years, the head of it 4 years now, and I brought this up. Drew and I spoke about it. Susan and I spoke about it. And what Susan and Bobby just said was the reasoning why we do it, if it's a one-on-one, if they're being supervised, as well as I believe it was a few years ago, it was more of a competitive thing to make sure that we could get qualified individuals to get them in contract and wait for the paperwork to come back, knowing that if there was a potential problem, then it would be addressed at that point in time.
But in the interim, they're with kids, right?
They're
Supervised with kids, yes.
To me, again, I think it's a risk, and it's a risk that we keep getting told by the group that we're hiring to tell us what our risks are. That keeps telling us it's a risk. I think we need to strongly consider making the change that they're recommending. And then I guess that goes to my next question. It's they're recommending this, and they're recommending follow-up audits. We're voting on this today. What does that mean exactly? Does it mean that we are, as a board, telling the district to do it? Does it mean we need to have a separate discussion about the issues that they're talking to change?
You're just accepting the report. The risk assessment isn't an audit. You're accepting the work of the Questar 3, assessing what they think are risk or mitigating controls is what it is. The same report for 17 years. I've identified the fingerprint for 17 years, and I've been doing this. I've read the same comment that we allow people on before they clear. And the board has accepted that as a risk. That's what this report is, for
Right.
you to say you're going to accept the risk or not. But
And I think the reason that we have accepted it is the fact that they are supervised. They are never alone with a group of kids.
Okay, so
They
all
are
the people,
supervised.
every single one is being supervised their entirety of the time until the
They're
fingerprints
working
come in.
with
Okay.
a staff member in a classroom.
Okay.
They're out on the playground perhaps with another aide on the playground. They're in the cafeteria, the same set of circumstances, but they're not alone with children.
Okay, no, that makes sense, that makes sense. And then the other piece, they said that the high school principal is also the faculty auditor, which appears to be prohibited by New York State Ed guidelines. I didn't look up the guidelines, so I don't know if that's accurate or not. But I'm assuming it is because it's in the report. Do we know how that came about, how that happened? Because I know you're going to change it, and I appreciate that. I'm just curious how it came about to happen to begin with.
No one wanted it.
Gotcha. Thanks. That's all the question I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. Moving on to item number 3, if I get a motion for number 13, please.
I'll motion to approve the Scotia-Glenville Central School District Professional Development Plan for 2024 to 2025.
Thank you, Kim. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, sir. Anyone have questions on this discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved.
Did we do 11 and 12? Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm confused about that too. I
Oh,
didn't get to reach
sorry.
11 and 12.
Yeah, I did
Oh, no,
9,
Pam
10,
did.
11,
Pam moved them all.
12.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's on me too. Could I voted for it, but can I ask a question about the transportation audit because I didn't realize that was all together? That's on me. Do we know what happened? Because one of the things they said was that the we weren't inventorying and monitoring our own tools and that sort of thing, and I know that's going to be changing, but what were we doing beforehand? How are we keeping track of what we bought, what we were using, what we didn't lose, or whatever? How was that being done before this particular document?
So the majority of the parts, as you know, are at Burnt Hills, which are
Right.
run through. So these were the ones that are at the Scotia facility, and they are tracked. They're logged in, but what they wanted, and we do audit this. Bobby, as you saw, was the asset coordinator. We do an annual audit, but we're doing now monthly reviews with our maintenance mechanic over there.
Oh, okay.
It's small items, so they wanted us to do this. We're doing it.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so we'll move on to item number 14. If I get a motion, please, for the appointment of the 24-25 CSE and CPSE committees.
I'll make a motion that we appoint the 2024-2025 Committee on Special Education and 2024-2025 Committee on Preschool Special Education as submitted.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you both. Any questions or discussion on that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. I get a motion for the MOA, item number 15, please.
A motion to approve the memorandum of agreement by and between Scotia-Glenville Central School District and Scotia-Glenville Teachers Association.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, sir. Any questions on this or discussions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. If I can get a motion to approve the MOAs for item 16, 17, 18, 19.
A motion to approve the memorandum of agreement by and between Scotia-Glenville Central School District and the Secretarial Association. Also between the MOA between Scotia-Glenville Central School District and the Secretarial Association again. And number 18, approve the memorandum of agreement by and between Scotia-Glenville Central School District and Scotia-Glenville Secretarial Association, along with number 19, the MOA for the Scotia-Glenville Central School District and Scotia-Glenville Secretarial Association.
Thank you.
As
Second.
stated.
I'll second.
Thank you, Pam. Questions or discussion on any of those?
With respect to the one from Ms. Zeglin, the notes for it says it's for providing district-wide support, but the MOA says for training. Is that the same thing, or is it different?
She basically trains any of these new secretaries on how to use, it's not NutriKids anymore, what do we move to? Titan. It's our point of service system. She has to train all the new secretaries with any new revisions, things like that. She also does the monthly downloads from the, I think the county on our SNAP and everything else. You know, so,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Anything else? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. I get a motion for item number 20, please.
A motion to approve the agreement by and between Scotia-Glenville Central School District and Diane Shanty as education consultant.
Thank you. And a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, discussion?
I didn't see this agreement. Oh, wait a minute. Was this just, is it the Regent Review contract? Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, why do we need a consultant to do tutoring for the Living Environment Regents exam? When maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think we have in it for any of the other regions.
No, and it's a personnel issue I can't discuss publicly. But I would share with you that Ms. Shanty is also in at this point in that classroom for the rest of the year.
Yes, and we're going to be voting on that later on as well. How is this different from that, though?
The original teacher who was assigned to that classroom has left us, and Ms. Shanty was providing the Regents review and instruction as a means of giving the students additional support. And now that the individual has left our employ, Ms. Shanty's going to finish out the year for us as a sub.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. If I get a motion to increase the debt service reserve fund, please.
I'll move that we increase the debt service reserve fund as submitted.
Thank you. In a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Questions, discussions on this? All right. If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. I get a motion for Resolution 22 for the emergency application of an appropriate pesticide.
I'll motion to approve the resolution for the emergency application of an appropriate pesticide.
Give him a second.
I would like to second that.
Thank you, sir. Any discussions, questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, go.
Oh, okay. So when I read this, I looked up the conservation law section here, and it said that unless you address the root cause of the pest, they are likely to return. So I was wondering if we could know the nature of the pest, also how time sensitive this is. I mean, when I see the word emergency, I assume we need this field right away. But if that's not the case, I would like to know more about the appropriate pesticide and who gets to decide whether or not it's appropriate.
That was also my question.
So for about 2 years, I've been updating the board on the problem with the field hockey lacrosse field over there. As you might have seen last year, it was almost down to nothing because a fungus got in and the geese basically ate away at the field. So as I updated the board before, I said we brought an outside company in that we'd work with on the project for all our fields, and they developed a plan of restoring it. If you go over there now, we're actually cutting it again. The grass is coming in thick. I think I'll be able to bring the field back into play next fall. However, there's a lot of clover with new growth. We had a similar problem 3 years ago when the board approved the same resolution to do some of the new fields to stop the overgrowth of clover and grubs. And you can see that worked on those fields. So somehow this field got the same fungus. And this pesticide will then basically get rid of the clover and the grubs and make sure that all the work that's been put in will sustain itself, because it has come back. We're in a good path now to putting that field back in play in the fall. But we're working with an outside company out of Cooperstown that we did 3 different proposals. They're the ones who were the best, and we also worked with our architects and their engineering, landscaping firm that we used in the project also. So well vetted and taken with a lot of seriousness, because that field was down to dirt last year.
But we don't know what the actual pesticide. I'm going on the assumption that, good faith, that they're not going to put some horrible pesticide on there. But I just worry that 5 years from now we find out that it's not something that should have been used, or I just feel like there's always something coming up
It'll
with.
be approved by SCD through the right channels. That's why we're doing this. And it's nothing you wouldn't put on your grass to get rid of clover. It's not Agent Orange or anything. It's a, just when you have schools, you have to follow a certain procedure. So the word emergency is what the language they want to use, but we're not putting it on tomorrow. But it's the next step to restore those fields, or we won't have them.
So an appropriate amount of time will pass. You said we're not doing it right now, so it's not like they're
Well,
putting
we're
it
going to
down
do it
and
in
then
the
students
summer.
will be on it in 24
We're going to
hours.
do it in the summer when the kids aren't here. We're going
Okay.
to rope it off. We're going to notify every community member, which is our requirement. And no one's using the field this summer.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything
welcome.
else? If not, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. If I can motion for Resolution 23, please.
I'll move to accept with appreciation an appropriate gift and donation from Sacandaga School 5th grade class.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you both. Any questions or discussion?
I just want to say I think it's a really neat idea.
Yeah, absolutely. With thanks. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved with appreciation. If I can get a motion to approve item number 24, another MOA.
I'll move that we approve the MOA between the Scotia-Glenville Central School District and the Scotia-Glenville Teachers Association as written.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Both. Questions, discussions on this? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. Communications.
I'll move communications A through E, staffing 1 through 15, the placement of students with disabilities, and the minutes from May 13th and May 28th as submitted.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you both. Questions on all this? Discussions, anybody?
A question, and I apologize, I don't have it right in front of me if it's 13 or 14 under staffing. It's regarding the proctoring of the exams at the end of the year. I noticed that, I don't know how much I can say out loud, but the discrepancy in pay between the TAs and the teachers that are proctoring was a very, very big difference, and I was just wondering if there was a reason. I understand during the school year they have different duties, but if they're proctoring exams, I'm just wondering why there's just such a huge difference between what they're getting paid to do essentially the same job, unless it isn't the same job.
Well, I think I would start by saying it's not the same job.
Okay.
The teachers are ultimately responsible for the proctoring. Usually, there's a teacher and a TA, so they do have different levels of responsibility.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else? If not, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed or abstain? So moved. Moving on to routine business. Payroll warrant. Any questions on number 57? 59. Check warrants A53 or A56? All right, moving on to other business. Does anyone have any other business they would like to talk about?
I just wanted to mention that our annual Corelator Song Time is this Friday. I believe it's 7 o'clock.
Nice.
And it's open to the entire community, so hope to see you there.
Awesome. I would just like to take a minute. 2 weeks from now is the last meeting of the school year. I will not be here. I'll be out of town for work, unfortunately. Since I will not be here, I would just like to extend gratitude galore to Bobby for the last 6 years. It's been a pleasure having him correct me all the time. I appreciate that more than you all know. Anytime I have a question about that silly school dude thing, you're there to help my treatment chart, so I greatly appreciate that. I definitely will miss you. Mr. Massaro, thank you for 6 years. It's been a privilege. Your knowledge of health, safety, contracts, unions, we will definitely miss that as we go into the next year, and hopefully we will run into each other several times as we move forward.
Sounds good, brother.
Thank you, sir. If nothing else, I will open up the second hearing of privilege of the floor. At this time, if anyone would like to address the board, please state name, address, 5 minutes. You know the routine.
I'm going to take like 30 seconds. All right, so Christina Darkangelo Wood, 605 Riverside Avenue, Scotia, New York. Just a quick question. again, relating to those pesticides that we just talked about, I do understand that you will be legally following the rules, but I am a little concerned about the wording in the first paragraph, because grubs and clover do not seem to be an imminent threat to health and safety of our students. So I just was wondering what the actual threat was. That was my concern.
We will get back to you on that one. Thank you. If no one else, I will close the second hearing for the floor. Thank everybody for a great evening. I appreciate everyone, and ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. In a second.
I would like to second.
Thank you, sir. Any questions on that one? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstained?